Spera. This is the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 161. We're off to see the Gurman. Recorded live Sunday, February 15th, 2026, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief here at the iTechGear.org, and we've got a full crew this week, kids. We've got the whole enchilada.
And we apologize at the outset for that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So joining us with that voice right there, that's the editor here at iTechGear and former contributing editor at Gear Diary in the late great Pocket Now. That's Mr. Chris Gavula. How are you, sir?
Doing okay. But like I said, I'm apologizing to our audience for us all being here.
Yeah, it's just,
It's very frightening when we all get in a
all
room.
two of them.
Package deal, okay? It's a package deal. That's all I can say. Also joining us here, the editor over at iTechGear and the former contributing writer over at Gear Diary, and currently the host of the Linux Link Tech Show, Living in the Retro Arcade podcast, and Fitness for the Rest of Us. That's Brother Joe McLaughlin. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just ducky, and we're undergoing the big melt. Yay! It's been
it's
above
all gone here.
freezing.
It's all gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's all gone. So, and last but never, ever least, we've got the editor here at iTechGear and, of course, the former co-owner of WUGNET Publications, Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
I am fine. And we'll also pre-apologize because the technology industry has sort of pissed us off this week. So we may sound like a bunch of grumpy old men on the front porch. But
Yes. And if you haven't heard it
shaking,
lately,
I'm just shaking my fist in the air at the kids on my lawn. Okay?
there you go.
it'll all be better next week. I'll be in Myrtle Beach with some friends. And
There you go.
What the hell?
There you go. Well, you know, some interesting things did happen over the last few weeks that we've been on a brief hiatus here.
Get it?
Wait, so the Apple released their Creator Studio, didn't they, Larry?
They really did.
So,
They
and
really
what's good about the Creator Studio? What's it got in it, and what's it meant to do, and blah blah blah.
Before I get into that, I'm going to say something that with most subscriptions that we all have a bunch of,
Yeah.
it's regardless of what it's for, it's a subscription, and you typically don't buy it without having a clear understanding of what it is. It fills a hole in your use case, whatever it does, you either buy it or you don't. It's usually it works or it doesn't work. It's a no-brainer.
Right.
But I don't think that's true with this one. This is hard to figure out. So for some people, it is a no-brainer. If you use Logic Pro or if you use Final Cut Pro, just go get it. Just go get it because you're going to use it. But, if you use one or the other of those along with Pixel, Major, Pro, then you should also get it. No-brainer. But I think Apple carefully crafted all of their offerings they put into this thing. And beyond this point, I think you'll just have to make a judgment call. The three major apps, besides those three that I just mentioned, they've added some other things.
So again, it's
Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and Pixelmator Pro.
Okay.
I think those are the two.
And let's remind our audience that this product is something that Apple is now selling as a subscription. It's not a purchase offer.
Subscription only now.
Right.
Subscription only. We probably should have mentioned that at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a $12.99 a month thing and X dollars a year,
Yeah.
$120, I think. But
You're right.
They've also added some other things which I would consider of a little lesser value for a large audience. Things like Motion, Mainstage, Compressor, and Freeform. They're good apps. I mean, they're good, solid apps, and a lot of people use them.
They're filler.
They're
Really
filler.
filler.
Thank you. They're sort of like professional fluff.
Yep.
And they've also added what used to be called iWorks, the main components being Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. So regarding these last three, they're a little different because they're still available to use as for free, as always. But if you want to have AI help you write or help you do cool things, like especially in Keynote, I can almost see where it'll help in Keynote, but the other two, I'm not so sure. But either way, you're going to have to buy the freemium version, which is part of this subscription. It's only available in the Creator Studio. And oh, by the way, they've also added three little iDevice companion apps, they call them. Final Cut camera, I think, Logic, was it Logic Remote and voice
Well,
memo.
don't forget Pixelmator Pro.
Right.
That was
It's
that
available.
was one of the first ones I mentioned. That's one of the
Yeah, you
top
did.
3. Yeah. Yeah, for me anyway, the jury's still out. Of the subscription apps, I do use Pixelmator Pro, but I don't think I need AI to go with it.
Right.
I use it like most
And-
people use, Photoshop.
And
Yeah,
let's
and
point out.
some are
Let's point
saying-
out. I'm sorry, guys.
I was going to
Okay,
say some are saying that this is a target at Creative Cloud. It
Yeah.
is and it isn't,
Eh,
because
yeah.
because the one thing that would completely get me off of Adobe Creative Cloud would be if they had a Lightroom
Yeah.
replacement, which they do not.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have that
But
yet.
this also has music processing and with Logic, which Creative Cloud does not have
That's
anything,
true.
anything like that. So it's kind of a different product as far as I can tell too.
Right.
The
And this
one thing I
product,
would add is, but I
My
want to add one more
dilemma,
thing
my
that's
dilemma
important.
is I do use Pages and Numbers a lot, but I don't think I'll subscribe. I just don't think yet. I need it.
But you can still use them
Apple
as you
sent
always
me an
have.
email. I got an email from Apple yesterday. 3 full months, try it free. I may try it, but I don't think I'll
Okay.
stick with it.
But I will add that they've added the iPad version of Pixelmator as well. That's another piece of this that got added to the puzzle.
That's
with all
a
this.
good thing.
true.
All the iPad
It is.
apps.
Right.
I mean,
And
they
this
have all
is
the
and this
iPad
is
apps.
really only an Apple only or a Mac only sort of product, right? I mean,
Correct.
there's no Windows side for this.
No,
Right.
no. For those who don't
No.
know,
Or Android even.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
No,
Pixelmator
but
Pro,
they
they just bought this, what, 6 months ago? maybe?
a year ago. I thought it was a
Yeah.
year ago,
Year
but you're
ago,
right.
maybe.
It's not long.
I've been using it for 10 years. It's a great product.
But
Mhm.
Just
what they've
great.
done is not only have they released the Pixelmator for iPad, but supposedly they've improved the Final Cut and the Logic Pro versions that are running on the iPad today.
Yeah.
Don't you think they had
those,
to do these things, Chris, though, just to kind of make it sound like it's more worthy
sure.
of their
Sure.
money?
But I want to point it out that they fleshed this out a little better
Yeah.
than maybe is
Yeah.
broadly reported. That's all.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
So the big question that I have is, with all these apps that they've got going on, including Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, Larry, are they actually phasing out the iWork brand?
Actually, the spoiler alert, yes, it's going away. They're only the brand name. They have quietly removed that standalone iWork section from their website. I went up today and I looked, it's gone. You
Okay.
can't
I
find
thought it was
anywhere
already
on that
gone
website.
myself.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
no longer prominently branded as a unified suite the way it used to be. Instead, these apps are grouped under a broader Apple software page, and they're tied to this new creator thing. Interesting, though, if you own and use those apps, you'll get a notice in your App Store app on your Mac. I did anyway. And it said, here, go update Pages, update Numbers, update Keynote.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you don't update them, they will continue to work forever. But boys and girls, you will never get one more update. You need to go ahead and download the 3 new apps as standalone, the version that is part of the Creator Suite. And you still won't have to pay anything, but you need that new one, or you won't get any kind of an update with it at all. Where you will get the updates, you just won't have the AI.
Well,
So-
the concern that I have is that the iWork suite, which again, Pages, Numbers, Keynote, was
Right.
their answer to the Works version of Microsoft Office initially.
I don't think
And
that was ever they never competed there.
Well,
never-
it was their answer. It was
I would
their
agree.
no, I disagree. It was their answer to the Works version of Office, which was supposed to be the quote unquote free version initially.
Yeah, but it had no market space, market share.
Okay,
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
let's
All
give
right,
folks
and
a little
then-
history here, guys. Let's give them a little history. So Microsoft released a product, the suite they called Works, that was, I'm going to call them knockoff versions of Microsoft Office
Yeah.
apps. Okay, and you're right.
Yeah.
I would agree that the iWorks from Apple was sort of a throw it in there. But I would also agree they never really competed because Apple just kind of threw it in the machine. Microsoft never did. They didn't really include it. You
True.
still had to
But
buy
then,
it.
but
You
as
still had to buy it.
as the Microsoft Works apps died out,
And
the
they did.
the
Long time ago.
iWork apps did not. They've been around since the at least 2005, 2006.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe
All
even
right.
longer. Yeah,
Maybe a little bit longer, but they've been on every single Mac that I've ever purchased.
Oh
All
yeah.
right. All right. As a freebie, just a way to go ahead and be able to write your high school reports or college reports or
sure.
papers or
And
do
that
some
hasn't
spreadsheet
changed.
stuff. No, it hasn't. It hasn't.
Yep.
And I wonder if they're going to continue to provide those three apps for free.
They are. They have already said they'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah. But the only difference in those three apps is you must get the new version of them. Put them on your Mac, put them on your iPhone, your iPad. There's new versions abound for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the old ones, they will continue to work. I'm just recommending to
Sure.
not do it. But they have flat out
Yeah.
stated they will still be standalone apps. I don't think they would shoot themselves in the foot that bad. No.
So
No.
that's what I was most concerned about. Are
Yeah.
people still going to have the ability
They
to?
will always, here's Apple's words. They will continue to appear as separate downloads in our Apple Store.
Okay. So you don't have to grab them out of the Creator
No.
Suite.
No, you
And
don't.
you can argue that they're not getting some of the high-end AI features and whatnot, but the reality is those products really are not changing much and haven't changed much in a number of years.
Oh, in almost 20 years.
There's little increments and little improvements and things like that, but it's not.
For those who don't use Pages, I got to tell you, it's a much better word processor.
It is.
Numbers is not. Excel is still far better. But boy, Pages is a great, great app.
It is a nice app. I have to agree. And Keynote's not bad as a spreadsheet. It does some things better.
No.
It does certain
As
things better
as
than
a
PowerPoint
presentation
and certain
package.
things worse.
Presentation,
Yeah.
like PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well,
Here we
it'll
go.
be interesting to see how all of this plays out. I mean, this whole thing with the Creator Studio, not Suite, but Creator Studio is going to be an interesting time. I don't know how well it's going to stack up against Adobe or Microsoft or any of the other apps.
I'm not sure it has
suites
to,
are out
but
there.
yeah, I get you.
And I don't know how what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know how strong of a market or demand is going to be for those apps specifically.
Right.
Especially when you've got things like GarageBand that you get for free. When you get iMovie for free. If they really want to, honestly, if they really want to go ahead and do something, I think that to push everybody towards the subscription model, they need to get rid of GarageBand and they need to get rid of iMovie. But that's just me. If you got them, don't update them. They're yours forever. Otherwise, you could be out of luck. Anyway, so let's go ahead though. Let's move over to this next. This is really where I think we're going to spend a little bit of time in this particular segment here. Will Siri still launch on time? That's a
I don't care.
huge question.
Because
there's been a couple of developments, all right, over the last couple 3 weeks. And the long and the short of it is that there's another delay in the release.
Maybe.
That's one rumor from one
Yeah,
person.
let me give them a little
Go
bit
ahead.
more background here, Chris,
Go ahead.
because on this one, part of me wants to say who the hell cares anymore.
Right.
But in reality, I do care, and I think anybody who has even one toe in the Apple ecosystem should
Sure.
also care.
Sure.
I think, as always, the media meatheads are trying to sensationalize this
Right.
far beyond a point of usefulness, and they're
Right.
missing the point. I think the point is 1 year ago, Apple got one of the biggest black eyes it's ever had by professing something that it couldn't make happen. It said, we're going to do this with Siri, and it never happened. But I think it could have happened if several of their key players at the top echelon of Apple hadn't have walked away, and if they'd have made their mind up to hire Google back then instead of waiting till now.
Well, they
to
wanted
get
their own
Gemini.
model, but I
Too
get you.
little, too little, too late.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one more quick comment. I think back then Apple regrouped. They sort of apologized for Siri's setback. Apple doesn't like to say it screwed up. You know that. So then
Oh.
it set out to fix the problem. A
Right.
few months ago, Apple said, and I quote, "Let's try this again. We just hired Google to have Gemini fix our broken Siri. And its first features will launch with iOS 26.4. Apple said that.
Yep.
So if it doesn't launch with 26.4, they have again professed bullshit. So that's what we hope they don't do.
Right.
Right?
Right. But I mean, at least one of the articles that we're citing here for this particular topic says that it's gonna, and that's from 9 to 5 Mac. Well, it says it's still on track to launch
I hope they're right, and they
on time
usually
as
are.
promised. Yeah. All right. Mac World, however, is saying that maybe not. It's still not working right, and maybe not.
They're not
It's
my
all
favorite
conjecture. It's
reading
all
list.
conjecture. People, I mean, we don't know exactly what's going to happen yet, and we
No.
won't know until it's actually released, right? Or at least right before it's released.
Well, we should know with the beta, but then again, even if you wait till the beta, sometimes features don't go in the beta. They might not put
very,
that in.
very true. Very, very true. And we should be seeing the beta in the next week or two, one would assume, because Apple just released 26.3, right, for all of the platforms. So
let me clarify something here, though. They did say they would get Siri out this year. They did not specifically ever say 26.4. That is
What
not
I read
what
and
Apple
said
said.
that.
The
I'll go back
industry
and find
the industry jumped on that, but there was no actual statement from Apple that said 26.4. And at the time, a few months ago, the speculation was 26.4 or maybe 26.5. They never specifically called out that version. So not that I've been able to find.
okay.
So, but the point is, either way, the assumption is going to be that it was going to be out sometime this spring. No, certainly no later than WWDC. There was certainly this assumption.
Right. And
regardless.
I think based on the release calendar or the release cadence.
I think so too. And
is
usually
where
around the mid, yeah.
Is where that calculation or that estimation
I think so.
came from.
I think so.
All right. Larry, you're still looking. Go ahead and look. All right. I want to I hope they do get it together with this. I really, really do. I know that I read something earlier this week that kicked off this whole topic of is it delayed, is it on time, is it not, and it said that they've actually got something that's in alpha testing inside the mothership. All right. And the reason why it may be delayed is because the response times are horrible. It's slow.
That's the rumor. That's going back to the original rumor,
right?
That's why we don't like to talk about rumors, because they get so misconstrued.
They can get convoluted. They can get convoluted.
But I will say this much: we're very good when this happens of saying, "Kids, this is a rumor."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to make certain that everybody understands. Hey, they are working on it and they are trying to get it together.
What I'm seeing, in all honesty, is exactly supportive of what Chris G just said.
Okay.
The reason all of the news sources picked up on 26.4 as the date this would happen is because Apple did say they would make it happen about a certain time of 26 of the year, and that is the certain time of the year that 26.4 more or less would come about. But Apple, according to all the great AI geniuses called ChatGPT and Gemini, no, they never ever specifically stated that.
They almost never do.
But it shows there were 74 tech story instances that it was said by the media.
And this is an example of what we've said over and over.
That's exactly right.
The media takes one little thing and goes
blow it up.
bananas with it.
Even
and
I
it's like,
believed it. Even I believed
and then
it.
everybody says, "Oh, that Apple said Apple didn't say squat, kids."
Yeah,
No.
they didn't. They didn't.
If you hold up an orange and call it an apple long enough, people will believe you.
Yeah,
People will
well,
believe you. Just keep saying it over and over.
that's true. So, well, it was on the news. It must be true.
It's
So,
Or
anyway,
what is this? I saw it in print on the internet, so it's got to
yeah,
be true.
yeah. So,
Gosh help
I
us.
still
I
have
know,
checks. I must
I
have
know,
money.
I know. Let's kind of move on to something that we did see. All
What
right.
did we see?
Well, we did see that YouTube launched on the Vision Pro, and Chris, you've actually got
I
a
do.
Vision Pro, and
And
how
I
is
did
it?
download it. Well, first of all, they did. This is a thing we've been waiting for on Vision Pro for almost 2 years since it came out. Yeah, pretty much since it came out. And Google has been kind of like, we'll get there, maybe, kind of. They've been really fishy about the whole thing. And the reality is, I think what they finally got to the point where, hey, they got to release it for Android XR and other things like that. So here we go, and they finally released it on Apple Vision Pro. Maybe because they want to be able to see how it works well first. I don't know.
It could be.
But the point is, it's out now. I have downloaded it. It is a really decent implementation of YouTube. And they have a category bar on the left when you see it in your screen.
Mhm.
And very much like many Apple Vision apps do, there's a sort of categorization things on the left. And and it's normal YouTube stuff you would expect to see, your home and your shorts, and there's some of the other categories that you see. But they have a category called spatial that shows you and highlights all the VR 360 and VR 180s and
Well,
the
isn't that
3D
spatial?
and the 3D apps,
Yes.
3D videos. So it's a nice little way of collecting it. I wish there was a way to search within the subcategory a little better, but YouTube's always kind of had a weakness in search areas a little bit.
Which is weird.
But
Why?
as much stuff as there, you'd think they'd have a better search engine, but they really don't. And because Google does search
they're the
engines,
king
you'd
of
think
it.
they could
Come
do
on.
better. But the search engine in YouTube's kind of icky. It always has been.
Well, and that I don't understand. I mean, I know that YouTube was an acquisition for Google. All right.
Oh, sure, long time
back
ago
in the day, right? They were an acquisition for Google, and but it's been part of the family now long enough that, I mean, it really should be a no-brainer.
I would have thought so.
Hey,
It's
Chris G, since you've looked at it already, to answer one question for me, have they allowed Google to bring material into that where they can look at? You're looking at Apple fonts and everything.
It's an app. It's an Apple Vision app. No matter how you look at it, it's Apple. It's definitely an Apple.
And that's the problem with Gmail on an iPhone. Same thing.
And Apple Vision has a little bit different look and feel than iPad or iOS.
Right.
It has a slightly different look and feel to it, but they fell in line with the design language of Apple Vision Pro just fine. So. It's nice to see Google finally got around to it. It's something that's been missing for a long time. Now, if Netflix can get their dang app running on Apple Vision Pro, we wouldn't have to use third-party tools to get there. It would be nice.
True.
Most of the other biggies have one. Come on, Netflix. We want you to get it right.
Well, so at least a step in the right direction, and this
it's a step in the right direction.
This will work on both versions of the Vision Pro, the M2 version as well as the M5.
It will. There's a slight difference with the M5 version. In the M5 version, you can run some of the 8K video choices.
Okay.
On the M2, it will knock it down to. I think you can do the 8K 180s, but you can't do the 8K 360s or something like that.
Okay.
There's a limitation surrounding 8K. The M2 doesn't do the whole highest level that YouTube can do, but the M5 version does. So you're right.
Okay.
That's the only difference I can think of.
So not 8K, but
certain 8K functions do not function under the M2.
Only
under the M. And I think they scale it down. It's not like you can't play the video.
If you look this up, Netflix excuse right now is it's too much of a niche thing.
Yeah, I know that they said that. They said at the beginning too. It's like, but these things are always chicken and egg. If you don't make it, no one will come.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. That's
So,
true. So, well,
it'd be nice to see.
you know what is rumored to be coming and coming soon.
Very soon.
Yeah,
Very,
within
very
a couple
soon.
of weeks, maybe.
It's imminent. Could be a couple of weeks. Is that MacBook with the iPhone chip?
Yeah.
Joe, what's the news around this?
So the rumor has it they're going to bring out one with the A18 Pro chip in it, which in some respects has some better specifications than M1s and even, I think even the M2 in some cases. So, and it's supposedly going to launch next month, maybe, with the 12.9 inch screen, so it's smaller screen than my MacBook Air, and it's also going to be made of aluminum too.
What's
so
the screen and display size, Joe?
12.9.
12.9.
That's all.
Yeah.
They don't name a resolution.
My understanding is physically it should be very, very similar in size to the old MacBook from a number of years ago.
Right.
And I'm talking about what we call the manager book, not the Mac,
the
not
12
the MacBook
inch,
that
the
predated
12-inch
that.
manager book.
The 12-inch manager book. It should be similar in size because you have smaller bezels these
Right.
days, theoretically.
Right.
So theoretically, you can put a 12.9 in that chassis, or
I had
slightly
one. I bought
slightly
one
larger
just for
than
the
that.
hell of it. I liked it. It was a good machine.
I still have one. I have the 2017 M4 version
It's supposed
of
to
it.
launch in multiple colors, very similar to the iMac, and the base level iPad. So
very nice.
They're not exactly sure on the price, but they're thinking it's going to be around $750, which that's not that much cheaper than a MacBook Air.
I was hearing
$200 is
$699.
all. Yeah.
See, I
think they need to get down $599, $699. But
see, I think it needs to be below $600 for sure. That $599 price as a start is probably where they need to land.
I'm not sure they can go there without doing some real serious compromises in the hardware.
Well,
I think there's going to be a limitation.
Right. Maybe if they didn't do an aluminum chassis, they could hit that point. But
Yeah.
I think it's
come on, Tim, take a pay cut.
I mean, honestly, this is really supposed to. I mean, if this is going to run Tahoe, this is going to run Mac OS, right? This is going to run your standard version of Mac OS.
But if you're trying to compete in the Windows space, you can buy a lot of Windows computers for $600.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the point where I'm trying to go.
But you won't be able to, and the numbers are going up because of RAM pricing. So I'm not sure you can hit those lower numbers anymore, and I'm not sure Windows machines will hit those numbers going forward. I think they're going to start you're going to start to see all that creeping up. So don't be too surprised if it's not at $599. I don't think they're going to hit that. They might, but I don't think they will.
That'll be disappointing if that in fact happens.
Well, but again, I don't think anything will. I think everything's going up in terms of these prices.
Well, that thank you AI, thank you NVIDIA, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
All that whole data.
Thank you, Micron, for getting out of the business.
Thank you, tariffs. Thank you, everything.
But yes,
thank you, all of it.
It really sort of bothers me that something that is supposed to be, for the common folks, though something that's supposed to be affordable to help the Mac platform get into the hands of those folks that wouldn't normally be able to afford or get their hands on a Mac, may not be able to do that. I mean, simply because at
true
the budget point between $599 and $699. I mean, it's only $100, but it's $100 more on top of the.
I know, but
do me a favor. Don't call it a MacBook SE, please. That's all.
Gosh, but the point is, if all these things are going up, everybody's going to get priced out. It's not just people looking for a Mac.
I would say that's true. And the problem, I think it's just a perfect storm here for Apple. And why I'm making the point is because it's taken them this long to make a budget PC, right?
I know.
And it really
that's the story. That story is also part of the reason why we think that Chromebooks are continuing to go down, because Chromebook prices have crept up a little too.
They have.
And
it used to be that you could get a Chromebook for $199 or less, for around $200.
So it's
somewhere
going to get
between
all
a
that's
buck
getting harder
75
and harder.
to $200.
Yeah, all
You
that's
know?
getting harder and harder to produce
Yeah,
the machines at those numbers. It just doesn't happen.
yeah.
Even if you're making a cheap plastic machine, you still can't produce
It's
at those numbers
difficult.
because
Yeah,
the RAM is killing you, right?
yeah.
RAM is killing everybody right now.
Oh,
But we'll see.
absolutely, it is.
We'll see where it lands. I mean,
All
it'll be
thanks to
curious.
AI.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what happens next month with this because I think this is going to potentially tear up the Chromebook market.
Not
It's
to
going to tear up the
belabor this,
low window.
but what drove RAM up all of a sudden here?
With the
Yeah.
tariff prices, I think
Tariff.
are being
Part of
blamed
it.
as a root cause. All right. The other portion of this is also the fact that folks like Micron are saying that the big demand for silicon is really going to be in AI-based data centers.
Which will
And
take a ton of RAM, yeah. Okay.
and they take a ton of processors, they take a ton of RAM, right?
Yeah.
TSMC, Apple is no longer their biggest customer. I mean, it's really
True.
It's NVIDIA.
it's really NVIDIA and other companies or AI developers and producers that are really going to be the big customers now.
The overall consumer space is really getting shut out by because there's more money to be made in the server space.
Absolutely, absolutely, there is at least at this point with
Well, they're growing
my
right now.
GPUs are ridiculously priced right now.
Well,
too.
they've
It's all
always
the
been
same-
ridiculously priced.
Well, but this has
They're
gotten
even
way
worse
out of
now.
control.
Yeah.
You're seeing $8, $9, $10,000 for a GPU now. For a graphics card.
Yeah.
Now, in some case, you can.
Oh, absolutely. No,
and
I get
insane.
it. I get it.
Well,
and I agree.
actually, here I just did a search on Amazon for the GeForce RTX 5090.
Yeah.
$3,600.
Yeah. See, that's crazy.
That's for the 5090. Now they also have that higher one. The NVIDIA has that higher version card. That thing is like $8,800.
Yeah. So that's
Even
I mean,
though
that's
if you look at this fundamentally, we're actually bordering on a paradigm shift in computing. If you think about it, we could be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can
doubt
buy a
that at
used
all.
car for what those things are costing.
Right.
Absolutely. Honey, what do you want to do? Do you want to go and get the minivan, or should I go ahead and buy a new graphics card for the gaming machine? What do you think?
Right. Yeah.
So because that's where you're. I mean, at $8,800, that's really kind of where you're looking
that's
at. I mean,
something.
that's crazy. So
It's getting up there. I mean, it's definitely a thing.
It is,
Oh,
and that's just
well,
and that's not even a whole computer. That's one component of a computer.
That's right.
But if
I know.
gamers are going to pay it, they'll keep right on raising the prices.
Yep. Actually, the 5090 is the highest one. So
In the consumer market, there's a pro version. I forget the model number on it that is sold to commercial entities. That actually is up in that ballpark I'm talking about. 5090 is a high-end consumer product, though.
Yeah.
And high-end gaming PCs are even more ridiculous here. Like, for example, there's this beautiful machine from Origin PC called the Arachnid with liquid cooling and all that.
Nice.
$8,600.
It's crazy.
It's beautiful, but
Of
it's
course
it's beautiful.
Don't want that.
So to fill in the gap, the one I'm talking about is the NVIDIA RTX 6000 Blackwell Workstation Edition.
Oh, well, that's because it's the Workstation Edition.
But it's it's 6000, and it ranges anywhere from $89.99 to $99.99.
Jesus.
Wow.
That's a video card, kids.
Card.
Yeah,
Just
that's not a computer. That's not a computer that you can
It's a
turn on and do
freaking
things
card.
with. That's a component of a computer.
It's considered a pro card, yeah.
But that's absolutely crazy.
Yep.
So there you go.
All right.
It's
Well,
a
I'm going
crazy
to go
world.
ahead and I'm going to leave that right there.
That's a good
right.
place
You
to
do
leave it.
I'm going to leave that crazy right there. I'm going to move us to our mobile Linux segment. All right. And I want to talk a little bit about, I mean, there's been some interesting stuff that's been going on over in Europe and Asia. And
Oh yeah.
this one might be a little bit political, and I don't want to go too far
Well,
down
just don't make it
Yeah.
political.
down
Yeah.
that rabbit hole. But WhatsApp and Telegram have been blocked in Russia. So
And that's not a surprise. That in itself is
No.
not a huge surprise.
no, I agree.
What's interesting to me about this story,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason I kind of shared it with you guys earlier this week, is that Russia has basically declared that that Meta and whatnot is an extremist organization. Now, I'm not a fan of Meta. You guys know that.
No.
I don't like the way Meta does business. I think it's been terrible and underhanded in some ways. And you can argue what they've done or not done.
Sure.
But I don't know that I would call them an extremist organization. I thought that was kind of an interesting designation to give them, and that's the reason
but
for
look
what
who
they're
was
doing.
levying that on them. It was a different country than U.S.
Yeah. So
So
this is Russia. Russia is saying that they're an
based
extremist
on
organization.
their ideals, it might be.
And so for folks who are using these tools or were using these things in Russia, Instagram, WhatsApp, all those things have been mostly pretty blocked. I think Telegram has been like 95% blocked. Or slowed. It's not completely blocked yet, but they're attempting to get there. So yeah, it just leaves us in an interesting situation. And again, to me, the interesting part of the story is, for all the good and bad of Meta, I just thought it was an interesting designation for them to receive. And they got it from Russia. They didn't even get it from China. They got it from Russia. So
they got it from Russia.
Congratulations, kids.
An extremist organization.
Congratulations, kids. So I hope you're happy with your trophy.
Put that on the wall there, Zuck.
Right.
It just struck me as fascinating to hear this. And this story hasn't been getting a lot of traction. I just found it a fascinating story.
Right.
Like,
No, but
really?
what's interesting about this though is that there was 100 million users of WhatsApp, right? And they've removed the Meta-owned app. The Russian authorities have, right? And from the equivalent of an online directory by
they screwed with the DNS, so you couldn't get there. Basically, is what they did.
Yeah,
I get it. So for folks who don't know, DNS
regulator, and they did this over on Wednesday.
So for folks who don't know, DNS is domain name service.
Yep.
Whenever you type the name of something you want to go to,
it
has to get translated. It has
to
to get translated to an address, to a numeric address. That's what this thing does.
Yes.
So it translates
it. That's what the DNS service does. Yes.
So by breaking DNS, it means you can't translate it. If you know the address of it, you could still probably get there.
If you knew the actual IP address, yes.
Yeah. If you knew the address, and IP is Internet Protocol for those who don't know.
Yeah.
And so if you know the address, the location where this thing is, you could still go there probably, unless they're blocking you at firewalls in the country's edge or something.
And I wouldn't doubt that either.
They could be doing that.
They could be doing that. Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it was a fascinating kind of reflection on things,
Right.
So there you go.
And speaking of Meta.
And we're not done with Meta, are we?
We're
definitely not done with. So,
speaking of Meta, their smart glasses are causing issues in schools.
Yeah.
Right?
So for folks who've been living under a rock, in the last couple of years, Meta has released these AI smart glasses. They usually use Ray-Ban and some other companies, to help them put these things out.
Right. Ray-Ban is the one that is
the big one, but there's others.
Yeah.
And they put these glasses out. Now, for folks who remember, or a little bit of history, a few years ago,
almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, Google attempted to release a product called Google Glass. Yep. And the big reason it failed is because people found it creepy to have people running around with these glasses that had cameras on them that were watching them all the time. Well, what do you think these Meta AI glasses are?
Yeah.
This is exactly what they are.
Yeah.
And they're connected to the internet, by the way, and chatting and doing whatever they're doing in the back end. And
Absolutely.
You don't know what the opportunity.
You get the opportunity to be a glass hole all over again.
And that was the term. That was the term we used back in the day for the Google Glass people. And that's what's coming back as a phrase. And what's happening is this is causing problems on campuses for a variety of reasons. Obviously, for things like cheating on tests and things like that. So that's creating problems. But the broader problem is things like imagine, if you will, you're in a college campus, and maybe you're a young female walking across the quad or something like that. A group of guys approaches you wearing these glasses, trying to chat you up. Next thing you know, you got posted on their Instagram or whatnot. And that kind of crap is happening over and over. And people are losing their ability to
because they were taking pictures of you when they were talking to you.
And they're taking pictures of you while they're talking, and they're taking video of you while they're talking to you and uploading it to their feeds. And you have no say-so. as the person who's being talked to.
You even do this, I mean, with your cell phone, right?
But it's more obvious when you do it with your cell phone.
It is more obvious. It is more obvious, but you can't stop them from doing it then either.
But it's more avoidable. You can say, put it down or whatnot. You can see them idiots holding it up. Whereas with the glasses, they could approach you before you've ever realized, oh, wait a minute, they're wearing those idiot glasses. And sometimes it's easy to just walk away. Sometimes it's not. But what's happening is there's a lot of people on these campuses say they fear these encounters. They don't want these kinds of encounters.
Sure.
And they consider it a form of harassment. And it kind of is. So what I would argue is with a lot of this stuff, why did we not solve these social problems when Google had these things out all those years ago?
Because,
now the same social
they were
problems
only
are coming
active
back.
because they were you had to have a special invite to get one. Number one. Number two,
and social media was totally different then too.
It was very different then. All right, number one and or number two, and then number three, it was they never got out of the official quote unquote beta stage, and they died as a product. After,
it was a limited number of users. Let's be honest. So the impact was very little.
Right,
it's much bigger now.
And they died. There was enough press about people wearing these in bathrooms and people making complaints about being filmed in a bathroom. All right, that it got back to Google, and Google said, "All right, kill it." No, absolutely not.
Well,
enough.
And unfortunately, this is just another form of the kind of generic bullying that goes on these days, and that's upsetting a lot of people. And I don't know. Again, we're going to have to do something about this. We can't just let it go.
Right.
No response. What that response is, I don't know. But you can't just let it fly the way it is right now. This is going to have some kind of, I'm going to phrase it as a social response, whether that's legal law kind of things, whether that's terms and conditions kinds of things in your I don't know what it means, but something's going to have to be stated about what we're going to do or not do about this.
I
but
agree.
it's not going to fly under the radar this time.
I agree.
To spread.
Well, if the fact that this is now the quote unquote second product, in this category, all right, and it's now a real product. It's not a beta. I mean, you can get. I mean, they're expensive. They're a few $100s or more, right? In order to get these things, but there's still kids that are on these college campuses that are running around with these glasses. You could still do all the shady stuff with them, and follow people
and the example I give you is just one of the problems. There's quite a few problems.
Exactly.
Read the article we've linked to because it really does talk about some of the things, and there's more things to come, kids. Here's my prediction though.
Right.
We won't do anything until quote unquote Apple releases their product, which is rumored to come out in the next couple of years. Then all of a sudden, this will be a big issue, a really big issue.
Right.
I almost guarantee it, because until Apple does it, people seem to be able to ignore it.
Well,
more.
All right. All I got to say is this: if the goggles on the Vision Pro are $3,500 or more, all right, these glasses are going to be ungodly expensive from Apple. All right. Not just a couple $100 or a few $100, $400-$500. You're talking about thousands of dollars potentially.
It'll be less than the AVP though. I guarantee it. So, it'll be less than that.
But one would hope it would be. However, all right, it's still going to be. You're still looking at somewhere between $500 to $1,000 for a set of sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
All right.
But again, remember there was a time where we said nobody paid $500 for a smartphone. There was a time when we said nobody would pay $1,000 for a tablet or a phone or for a smartphone. There was a time when we said they wouldn't pay $1,500, and here they are paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 and selling out for things at this price point.
Yeah.
You're getting a society of haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, so it won't stop people from buying this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
because the people that can afford it will keep buying it.
Right, and so I guess my point on this is that there's always more have-nots than there are haves. Always.
Yeah, but we don't tend to do laws to help the have-nots. We tend to do laws to help the haves. That just is a tendency. So I think what we're going to see here is a problem going forward, and it will be a bigger problem before it's fixed. But eventually, something will happen.
Agreed.
Something will happen eventually.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm sure it will.
Very, very true. So let's go ahead on to a happier note. And those in the Android camp might be interested in this. Android 17 is now in beta. Isn't that right, Joel?
It sure is.
Ooh.
It won't be cheap either.
We have the dessert name too. It's Cinnamon Bun. Android 17 is codenamed Cinnamon Bun.
Cinnamon bun.
So it,
Okay.
and as we all know, Joel only has one Android phone, so he can't afford to sacrifice the beta gods. But they're
Fair
ramping
enough.
it up pretty quickly, which they're talking
Well-
about
Well, yeah,
April
I mean,
time frame.
the QPR3 for Android 16 just came out, so
Right.
we have to have this, which I believe is well, it's a quality update, but I mean, I'm surprised that they're turning the cycle around this quickly.
So, did we have any
Yeah.
reference to what is supposed to be the big things in 17 that we get
They don't.
this time
There's
around?
not much new in it right yet.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mean, there is. Let's see. The official change law mandatory large screen adaptivity. So that's good for the tablet
Okay,
level.
no, we've been wanting that for a long time. I'm glad
Right.
to see that.
Yeah.
And
So,
folds, by the way, and folds, right?
Yes. Optimized
Okay.
configuration changes, performance and runtime. So lock-free message queue, generational garbage collection, no
Okay.
profile triggers, notification.
They've run out of
responses.
new
There's a lot
stuff.
of technical stuff.
Yeah,
sounds
there's
like
a lot of
little
there's a lot of under the hood stuff so far,
At
and that's
this
all that
But
point,
you
not
yeah.
new stuff, though.
know.
But it
Right.
sounds like a lot of
Dynamic
cleanup stuff.
session updates. You got a
Yeah.
constant quality for video recording,
Okay.
background audio hardening, VVC support. That's for versatile video coding. Clear text deprecation. So
Easy for you to
easy for
say.
me no shit. HPKE hybrid cryptography, including public service provider interface for implementation of HPKE hybrid cryptography. Companion
they're-
device manager, new profiles for medical devices and fitness
Oh, wow.
trackers. Unified permission dialog. All right, so, but there's not. I mean, that's it so far. Nothing about any interface changes. The screenshots. I added another story, which shows some screenshots from it.
Thank you.
They
I
don't really
still
look all
maintain
that
the reason we have liquid glass is because they ran out of features and they had to invent something else. They just
different. Right. Yeah. So I mean, but we'll be excited about that. I know well, I still have the 9 Pro XL, and I'm kind of waiting for the 11s to hit before I upgrade again. So we'll see what
Makes
happens.
sense.
Yep. I'm more excited about a possible wider fold from Samsung.
That is going to be an interesting little dealio.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about this. What's going on with
Right.
this wider fold from Samsung? Supposedly the Fold 8.
Right. So Samsung's rumored to be preparing a wider Galaxy Z Fold phone for this year's foldable launch. By wide, it simply mean it looked closer to the original Pixel Fold than the current Galaxy Z Fold. So they're kind of going the way Google did with the Pixel Fold.
still
Yeah.
got it, still works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
this is going to be a wider, an overall wider screen. All right.
On the
So
front
the-
and inside. So,
Right. Outside and inside. So you're going to have, and you wouldn't be able to have one without the other.
Right.
But this is going to be wider than your standard Samsung Fold. All right. It's
Yep.
going to be
And
wider.
Sure.
similar. I think the probably reason they're doing that, besides that Google's doing it, is that's the rumored form factor for the iPhone Fold too. When you're thinking about it.
So,
So
and I
And,
wouldn't
let,
be, yeah,
and keep
Yeah.
in mind that Samsung's on making the screens for Apple.
correct.
So
Correct.
it's an easy move for them, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So, those that may have either the original Pixel Fold, or for those that are familiar with the Microsoft Duos 1 and 2, you're talking about a form factor that is like that. All right, not necessarily the two inside screens on the Surface Duos, but that wide of a device.
How
Right.
wide was the Duo 2? Just opened up left to right.
It's wide. All right,
It-
it is wide. I've
yeah.
got my Duo here, and you can tell
Yeah.
Sitting up against the iPhone. All
Yeah.
right. I mean, you're
And
talking
that's
at
a
least,
max, right? Yeah.
and that's a Pro Max. You're talking at
Yeah.
least a quarter inch. All right,
Right.
in
Yeah.
terms of what additional width. It's a lot bigger. All
Yeah.
right, and you can definitely feel the width difference in your
Oh
hand.
yeah,
You know.
Yeah,
but
you make a good
but
point about Samsung doing the displays because it would make sense that if they're making a display for the iPhone Fold that is
Yeah.
yeah,
X, why not make it
yeah.
for their own device?
Absolutely.
Well, and if they think it's a format that's going to take off, and let's be
And if
honest,
they believe Apple, well, of course they will.
if you look at Samsung's history, they've often mimicked Apple
Yep.
products throughout their
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
That's fine. They can
Well,
leverage
they
that, and
were
make that work.
originally found guilty of IP
Well, they
infringement
did.
from back in the day.
So, okay, oh, but I get it. I mean, we've argued before. You and I have certain, Chris, you and I certainly talked
Yeah.
about what I'm going to now call the book format, not just the fold format, but the book format.
Right.
Of the Duo and the original Pixel Fold and some others.
Right.
And there's some use cases for it that are very, very good. So I'm not surprised to see some folks trying that on and seeing how that fits for them. So, and
Oh,
Apple wants to
absolutely.
differentiate, so I get it.
For the Kindle app, it's
Oh,
freaking
it's
awesome.
phenomenal for the Kindle. It really,
for
really
the
is.
Kindle app, it's absolutely awesome. If you do any kind of book reading on your smartphone, you want to do it.
Absolutely.
You want to do it on some level of fold. If that fold supports the page flip, kind of gesture,
Well, and I made the argument several
especially.
years ago, it took up 2, 3 years ago that my biggest complaint about the Galaxy Fold series
Hmm.
was it was too narrow. That outside screen was virtually useless. It's too narrow.
Right. Right.
And some people agreed, some people didn't agree. And the 7 came out, and the 7 is wider, so that the outside screen is actually usable now. But we still made the argument that there is some value in the book format, like you said, for
Mhm.
Kindle. The ability to show multiple apps on the screen works better in the wider
Absolutely,
format.
it does.
It just does. So it's nice to see it. Movies they don't have their letterboxing chopped off quite as stupidly
Right.
as it is on the other
Absolutely.
fold device. That's one of the big problems with fold devices like the standard Fold 7 is that it's still not wide enough. You can display the movie in letterbox and you're losing a huge amount of top and bottom space.
Yeah.
With the book format, you lose a lot less.
Well,
Yeah.
not
It's a
to
lot more
mention the fact
functional.
if you flip it open like a laptop and want to use the screen on the bottom part of the screen
Absolutely
as a
true.
keyboard,
Absolutely.
it makes it much easier because you see
It
more.
really does.
You see
Mhm.
more of the screen.
Yep.
So
You do.
There's some very valid productivity reasons to want the wider format. So it's going to be interesting to see if everybody goes there. How I'm going to be curious to see how it gets adopted or not adopted by the public at large. Some
Sure.
people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it.
Yep.
So I'm curious to
right
see.
now, I'm tacitly interested in the fold, but in a folding one. But because of the physical things that I do, running races, hikes, and stuff like that, I'm very unlikely to go fold. So.
And totally get that. And for me, being as arthritic as I am in my hands and elsewhere, I don't like that wider format because it stretches the hand out and it makes it more difficult to hold on to. And after a while, it's gonna hurt. Now that may be a problem for the younger crowd. It may not be.
But the argument, Chris, is that you're not going to do it one-handed with the wider formats anyway.
Well,
the argument is you're going to treat it more like a tablet.
You got to start out one-handed. I've got to be able to answer the phone. I've got to be able to at least start here. And then when I decide that I need to go ahead and go bigger, that's when I fold open.
Yeah,
the thing
I've never
up
had
and
the problem with that you did, but I understand your concern. I do. I do. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. And that this thing's going to be upwards of $2,000.
Oh, absolutely.
Easily.
Upwards
or
of
more.
$2,000 or more. I'm thinking, it may start at $19.99 and then go as high as $26, $27.99.
It could,
depending on storage and RAM and whatever else. But I'm just,
I don't think we pointed it out earlier, but I do want to point. I think this wide version of the Fold 8. It's an additional model. They're not
Yeah.
talking about making. They're still going to have a standard size Fold 8 as well.
Right.
Is
Oh,
the way
okay.
the story goes. It isn't a replacement for the standard size Fold 8.
Correct. And this is effectively, even with these speculations that we're now making, this is as much as is currently known about this device.
That's it. Yeah, we don't know anymore.
At
Right.
all. There are no there's no understanding of specs or what it will or what it will
No.
not do, what kind of screen behind the creaseless thing is supposed to happen, because it's supposed to be the same screen that Apple is using.
Mhm.
We have no idea as to whether or not what colors or even materials this thing will be made from. Nothing. We have no idea.
Samsung is very, very interesting in the fact that they historically been very good about leaking things in succession as you get
Yes.
closer to product
Yes.
releases.
Agreed.
So what we know is probably valid, as we go
Yeah.
forward, because usually it comes from Samsung.
Right.
So
Right. So there is one Samsung Unpacked.
and that's coming soon, right? That's coming in
Yeah, I
another
thought it was
week or two,
supposed
isn't
to
it?
be
Yeah.
End of February, normal.
yeah, I thought it was supposed to be the end of this month. I thought it was supposed to be February 25th. All right.
Okay.
So it's within 10 days of this recording date. All right. So 10 days from now, we're supposed to hear about I would think that if they were going to go ahead and do this, they would at least have some additional information, maybe not a full product
sure.
announcement, but at least more additional information on this
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
At least I would hope that they would. So maybe we'll know more in a week or two, maybe not.
Be interesting.
It will be.
I hope we do. I hope we are. I mean, I'd look forward to something like that. I wouldn't mind hearing about that. So
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the format. Let's go.
Yep. So I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and move us to our Windows segment, but I'm going to do that right after this brief message. Hi. This is Christopher Spera from iTechGear.org. I wanted to talk with you today about becoming a contributing donor to the site. iTechGear.org has been around for almost 15 years. In fact, our anniversary is just around the corner on January 10th, 2025. 15 years. Where has the time gone? I've never really asked for any kind of donations for the site. It's always been about me providing value to you, a site visitor or podcast listener. The iTechGear Weekly is now in its 4th year of production, and Chris G, Joel, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin and I are having a really great time providing you with some of the best free tech talk available from time-tested original internet writers, testers, site founders, and professional writers and editors on the internet. I truly believe that our crew has some of the best and most qualified pundits and commentators on the internet today. And we're not hobbled by any kind of sponsorship or affiliated relationship or other time-bought posts. It all comes from the heart. Unfortunately, times are kind of tough. And since the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 to 2023, yes, almost 3 full years, times have become increasingly difficult for small independent sites like iTechGear.org to stay afloat. I normally do this with a portion of the salary I make from the day job. But with the IT market so tight right now, it's really difficult sometimes for many to make normal household ends meet, let alone fund a site like iTechGear that might decide to bring in a buck or two. It ain't easy. If you find any of our content on iTechGear or from ITGW to be of any value at all, I would seriously appreciate you donating as little as just $1 to the cause. While we do have a Patreon site, it's hard to keep one website up, let alone 2. And since it's really only me doing the work, our Patreon site hasn't really helped us at all. If you can make a donation to the site or to the show of any amount, I'd be forever grateful. All donations will go to site maintenance, hosting, podcast hosting, and everything iTechGear related. Donations can be made to my PayPal account at chris@itechgear.org. Make a donation. We'll thank you immediately on the next ITGW episode and voice our gratitude. I want to thank you. We appreciate your consideration, time, and attention. Now let's get back to the latest iTechGear Weekly episode. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly episode number 161.
You're scaring me with that.
We're off to see the Gurman.
You're scaring me with that. You're scaring me.
So, well,
Does Gurman live in Oz?
He may be the wizard. I don't know.
Right.
All right. We'd have to ask Jeff Goldblum. I don't know. All right.
Yeah, Oz is the nickname for Cupertino.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So we're not really having a wheel spinner or any sort of specialness with this week's, because honestly, it's
all bad.
It's none of it is really good.
No.
None of it is really good. You know, largely because of this first story, that's 1 billion, okay, one whole Sagan, 1 billion Windows users, and they're all pissed at Microsoft. All right.
I don't know if they're all pissed, but yeah.
Well,
enough of them.
They should be. All right. They should be, because, there are a growing number of consumer complaints about Windows 11, and they are loud and persistent. People are angry about buggy updates and unwanted features like AI, and we'll get into some of that later on in this particular segment. And Microsoft, it needs to go a long way into really putting their, they should have more than, for as many people as they have in their marketing department, they've got more ears than they do mouths. All right. They need to listen to these complaints a little bit more. They need to listen a little bit more to what's going on.
I don't know. Sometimes I think they're the three monkeys with the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil thing.
And speak no evil.
I swear.
Right.
I swear sometimes that's who they are.
You're right. But the feedback that they're receiving from the Windows community is that, especially their Windows insiders, has been very, very clear. They need to improve the way that they are interfacing with those folks, and they need to actually take their complaints seriously, and they aren't. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, at least initially, the Windows Insider program was something to be on. All right. And they actually listened, and you could actually see your feedback actively shaping the way that Windows did what it did. And granted, this was 11 years ago.
A long time ago.
This was 10,
I was
10,
on
11,
it too.
Yeah, 10, 11 years ago. All right. Because they started all this mess back in 2015. All right. But Microsoft is saying that this year they're going to be focusing on addressing these pain points that they've been consistently hearing from all of their customers and their insiders, improving system performance, reliability, and the overall Windows experience. I have my concerns. I have my doubts.
I think it's lip service.
We've been going over. I mean, it's ever since we started the Microsoft Mistake-a-thon based off of an article, I think, out of ZDNet back, I want to say in like August or September of last year. All right.
At least that far back.
All right. And it's getting to be a little bit ridiculous. I mean, it's almost to the point where, you get up in the morning, you hop out of bed, and you wonder, what's Microsoft going to screw up today?
I keep wanting to be able to report on some good news like we used to be able to report, sometimes
Yes.
with Windows, and there hasn't been any, and it's very, very exhausting and very frustrating. Very much so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very, very skeptical. All right. Because Microsoft I mean, with all of the issues and problems that a number of different users have been reporting on based on Windows updates that are released and are um, um, uh, and are downloaded and installed by a number of different users, and all of a sudden everything catches on fire, and they're like,
Hmm.
"Oops!" You know,
Yeah. Oops.
you basically kind of wonder, you know,
And yeah.
what's going on. I mean, there are five basic points, right? Pain points that um, a lot of users are talking about. You know, Windows Update is a glitchy mess, right? The push to add AI features to Windows is exhausting. All right. Not everything needs to be AI powered. All right. Upsells. Microsoft trying and going out of their way to sell the standard user additional services while they're trying to get work done is just annoying. You can't get away from the ads. Um, Forced migrations to OneDrive are absolutely infuriating.
As our stories of people having their files destroyed by OneDrive, by the way.
Yes,
Right, right.
yes.
Right.
All right. And then making everybody that is experiencing all these problems fend for themselves or solve their own problems. They're not getting any, you know, little to no support from Microsoft at all. I mean, what the hell?
Yep, 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 yep.
I don't understand. I mean, nearly 60% of all Windows PC owners are consumers, right? And they're being, but the overwhelming share of Windows revenue comes from corporate and enterprise customers. And you would think that they would listen to those folks, right?
Yep.
And take that feedback and
Mhm.
internalize it. I mean, it's what they're supposed to do with
But you know what I find fascinating about that? Because they
what?
get their revenue from corporate and enterprise, like this article
Right.
says to us as well. But the thing is, they're not listening to those folks either. And they have broken corporate and enterprise computers more than once in the last year or two.
Oh,
And so
absolutely.
it's not just consumer machines being broken, but they're not listening to anybody. It feels like that.
Oh,
It feels that way.
and I think that you're absolutely positively dead on. All right. They aren't listening to anybody. They feel that, you know, hey, we've been doing this for 30, 40 years. We know better than you do.
You do.
All right. And we're going to do this the way we want to do this, and you can't make me do it any other
I,
way.
I think I would argue that their eyesight, their focus is very myopic, and they're focused on Azure and the server space and those services. They're not focused on the desktop or the desktop apps even though they're continuing to be cash cows for them. They're not focused there anymore. Their brains aren't
Well,
focused there anymore. Not
they
looking
aren't
there
mooing
anymore.
as loud. Those things aren't mooing as loud as, you know,
Yeah,
Azure
true.
and the other enterprise services that they're
Well, they
trying
also
to
make
sell.
more money off those other services, and I get that, and that's where their focus has been. That's what
Hmm.
I see anyway.
I
It
agree.
looks like to me,
I agree. And it's almost as though, you know, Windows has become, it used to be the biggest thing and one of the, you know, most closely
yeah.
guarded things that they stole from Apple and IBM. But, you know, it used to be one of the things that they protected the most. And now it just seems like they just don't care.
Well, and we have some examples today of those things, don't we?
Absolutely. As I indicated earlier, one of the five pain points, you know, they're throwing AI into absolutely positively everything. They threw AI into Notepad and it created
Mhm.
a huge security hole
Because the AI was very easy to trick
and hack.
and
Mm-hmm.
hack.
And
So,
the reason they're falling behind on all the things they should be making work is they're spending all their resources on freaking AI, and they don't have anybody left to do the normal
And,
stuff.
and by the way, throughout all this, they're kind of going through a sort of open divorce with OpenAI while all this is going on,
Yes.
which can't be helping their situation.
Mommy and daddy are arguing. Just let it alone. So I I I I don't understand that. Why in the world does a plain old text editor need AI services? Why?
I don't get it. I don't get it. And I can't think of anything that they did with it that made me want to use it
No.
any way other than the way that I've always used Notepad. And now they've made it easy for hackers to get at whatever you put in Notepad. Great. Thanks. Appreciate it.
And at some point, it's going, that app has to access the kernel in order to be able to save to the file system. I'm waiting for something to be exploited now and they get access to, the rest of the computer. It's just a hairline away. It really is.
So that's in their list for the recent. And the other one, of course, in the list is the February Windows updates.
Oh my God.
It's causing
startup problems.
So people are ending up in endless boot cycles because of these February. Some people are. Because of the
not
February
everybody.
update.
Not everybody.
Not
I
everybody.
haven't seen it yet. Knock wood, right?
Well,
I haven't seen it yet.
And let me add to that, with the other news on this front in the last several weeks is they're forking the ARM-based Windows from the Intel-based Windows.
Yes.
And the feature sets are going to be different.
Yes.
For the foreseeable future. Maybe eventually they'll bring them back together, but
maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Why are we forking this stuff and making it different?
Well, fork you. Number one.
Let me be clear. When I say forking, I mean the feature set.
Yes, I know that.
Not
I know that. But you need to. Yes, but
we know what forking is.
You've got.
No, but I mean,
different...
where are they forking? They're forking in features. Not in they weren't forking in features. But the underlying code has always been different.
Right. And it's largely because you've got the neural processing unit that's wrapped up in the ARM processor, and you don't have that in the Intel processor. All right.
But you can get around a lot of that anyway. It's just slower.
To an extent, yes, you can. All right. But I understand that if they're going to split things, all right, so that your ARM processors, which have the neural processing unit, which will make the use of AI services more convenient and faster, all right, then on the Intel side, that would probably use the GPU, if you have a GPU, as opposed to the Iris GPU, and that's on board every standard Intel processor or non AI based Intel processor. Then it's not as good. So I can understand why they're splitting, at that point. But again, we don't need AI in absolutely everything.
Nope.
And, with them splitting everything and with them, not testing everything, because it's clear to me, and I've been doing software testing for over 30 years. All right. It's clear to me that we are seeing so many screw ups because they are not being as rigorous with their testing for these new features as they used to be in previous years and previous versions of Windows. And it's just absolutely, I mean, when you see things like boot loops, all right, startup problems, all right, security failures. All right. Microsoft has got should have enough firepower in their or talent in their stables to be able to go ahead and plan the appropriate level of tests, to think of these things, to plan for that kind of testing, to make certain that they don't bump into these problems before they hit the general public. And these are big bugs. Why are they not catching them?
No clue, but it's really getting annoying.
It is absolutely getting annoying. And what's worse is, they are there are more Windows PCs in the enterprise in corporations than there are any other kind of PC than a Linux PC, even though they're heavy in the server market, and we're not going to go there for right now. But I mean, more than the Linux, more than the Apple, more than anything else. I mean, why? They run the computers that run the businesses that run the world. Why are they not doing the diligence to test?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out why, because it's been going on for a long time now. That's for sure.
Right.
It's been an issue for a while, no question.
Right. They say that, for these boot loop problems, these startup problems, if you can get to a desktop, all right, if you can get to a desktop, because if you've got these boot loop or startup problems, you may not be able to get there.
I had boot loops for breakfast this morning.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
We're here all week.
We're here all week.
There is a way to uninstall this. You can go ahead and get to Control Panel, Programs, View Installed Updates, and then select KB5077181, and that's the latest update that's causing.
My point is, you shouldn't have to.
Correct.
You shouldn't have to.
Correct. No. But there is a way to get around it, provided that you can get to a desktop, whether it's in safe mode or whether it's any way else. You should be able to go to get to this and uninstall this particular problematic update. And it may also be a good idea to bring, if you're not experiencing this problem, consider yourself lucky, because it could be you. But if you're not experiencing this, go ahead and you may want to consider, especially if you're a consumer, pausing your Windows updates by going to Settings, Windows Update, and Pause Updates. Otherwise, you may get hit with this. All right.
And
or some other startup problem or other issue or concern that may screw over your Windows computer.
And then, while you have it paused, start looking at Linux and Mac.
Yeah. Yeah. Which may be a really good idea for you kids, because I'm telling you, Linux doesn't have a quarter of these problems. They really just don't. And neither does Mac. Now, Mac's a different story. It's much more expensive is for the price of entry, but you can take any Windows computer can run Linux. Any Windows computer, whether it's your brand new one or whether it's one that's 10 to 15 years old, you can run a modern version of Linux. So think about it. And speaking of AI issues and problems, apparently, and this is something from a
we're not done with them yet? Jeez.
No, we're not done. But wait, there's more. Microsoft is thinking about scaling back some of the Copilot and walking back some of the AI overhead, which I thought was probably a pretty damn good thing to do. You
think?
Yeah. At this point, I would have to say yes, because honestly, and this is actually an article by Zach Bowden over at Windows Central. And it's from the end of last month. So it's from a couple of weeks ago, but I thought it was interesting enough to go ahead and mention just they're thinking of Microsoft has been leaning heavy on the Copilot AI implementation, and somebody over at Microsoft has heard the wailing and the gnashing of teeth, and the company, according to Microsoft, the company is shifting away from AI everywhere and towards features that actually make sense for Windows users.
Huh.
But we'll see.
Is this while they're shoving backup down my throat and OneDrive down my throat? And
more or less, yeah.
Okay, I just want to know.
Yeah.
I think that's the broader concern.
It's not so much backup. It's not so much backup as it is Windows recall, right?
Well, not just recall, but anything shoving me at OneDrive and
forcing
my files. Yeah, forcing my files to remote locations, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think the broader issue here is yes, I'm glad to hear they're backing away from AI a little bit, but it's a broader problem.
Agreed.
It's pushing me towards services, including AI, that is pissing us off because they're forcing it down our throats. All of it.
All of it.
I don't
yes.
think it's the fact that they offered AI. It's that they're shoving it down at us. We're not
You
getting a
must
choice.
have these. We're going to make it part of whether you like it or
You
not.
will like it.
You will get these features. You may as well learn how to use them. Whether whether you think it's intrusive to your workflow or not.
Sorry, Microsoft not falling for the Jedi mind trick.
These are not the droids you seek. Yeah.
These are not the features you're looking for. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm we'll see.
You're talking, I mean, let's clarify this. You're talking to 4 people who have been with Microsoft Windows since day one.
Yeah.
Day one.
Yeah.
We went through the good years, the almost good years, the bad years, and now these years.
Yeah, the Windows Vista years and the Windows Me years.
Why did it have to happen? It didn't. It just didn't.
It didn't
So
have
unnecessary.
to happen this way. It didn't have to happen this way. I really think whoever is running product, whoever is running marketing and product management over at Microsoft needs to lose their job. All right, because they're the ones that are responsible for the way that the product has been moving, the way the product is going. They're the one that has been really pushing this down everybody's throats. And they just it needs to stop. It just needs to stop. I don't need Copilot in absolutely everything. It definitely doesn't need to go in.
Well,
if you want to give it to me and make it available to me, that's fine. But let me use it when I want to use it, where I want to use it,
and how I want to use it.
And I would say that for all of their services, not just AI again.
Yeah.
Because
Microsoft all 365, same thing.
Yeah.
They're all in my face all the time telling me I need to sign up for backup. I need to sign up for this. I need to sign up for that. I don't need to sign up for any of it. Stop shoving it in my face. If I said no, I said no. Go away now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I really would rather the ads in the middle of the operating system stop. I would really rather that they stop pushing, their additional products and service at me.
Well, that's my whole point. It's always in your face all the time. I will say this much on a tiny Microsoft good note. I will say I think that they've done a great job getting ARM out there.
Yeah.
And our version out there, they've done a great job with that version.
Yep.
Other than these kinds of issues that we're talking about now, other than this stuff still being in your face, and they have people that can do good things there. They clearly do.
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely.
they just need to focus back on what they did well. And
but those people who can do good things, Chris, are sitting there in a room doing what somebody up there tells them to do.
I agree. And so
they're not going to argue. They're going to do it and keep their job.
Well, that's what they're getting paid to do. Yeah, I get it. And so I want Microsoft as a company to go back and focus on what made them successful and what worked for them, and stop shoving crap down our throats when we've said over and over we don't want it. Stop doing that.
Right.
It's not just we four; it's we.
I know.
People. I mean,
the bigger we.
There's a lot of we's out there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of we's out there.
Interestingly enough, they don't necessarily tell us how many people have participated in this survey, but on the article that we're citing on Windows Central, they ask a question: do you think Microsoft's move to reduce and streamline Copilot integrations in Windows 11 is a good thing? And 94% of respondents have said yes.
I bet.
But I would argue that that's not enough. I need them to back off on the other services. And the shoving out.
Agreed.
I would argue it's not enough. It's good. I'm glad to hear it if they really do it.
But Windows Recall is not something that needs. I mean, it might be a great consumer product, but it's not usable in the enterprise.
But but it's recall, it's backup, it's all this other stuff.
Well, yeah, all right. I mean, and then it's all pushing it. It's pushing everything to OneDrive. We've been using OneDrive. We've been using OneDrive here in the iTechGear Weekly for the last 5+ years. And some of the things that have been happening have really caused me to reconsider. Is that something that I really want to do?
I'll be honest. I've taken a lot of I used to keep almost all of my personal files that I needed in the cloud.
Yeah.
OneDrive is where I put them because OneDrive was the closest thing
It
to
was
an ubiquitous
ubiquitous.
solution.
It was a more
It was on all my
ubiquitous solution.
platforms. I could get I could get it from all my platforms.
Yeah.
But it's pissed me off so much the last couple of years.
Yep.
Especially in the last year. It's doing things I don't want it to do. So I have moved some things away from there in order to give myself some resilience.
Where have you gone? Where have you gone, if you don't mind me
believe it or
asking?
not, for now, I've moved things more to iCloud for now, but that's not necessarily where I want to land either, because they don't have a Windows component, but they do have other ways.
No, they do have a Windows component. You can
They do.
iCloud for
I'm
Windows.
sorry.
It's been recently rebuilt, as a matter of fact.
Okay, because it was kind of rough around the edges. What I was doing on my Windows boxes and on my Android boxes was to basically use the web interface to get to and from the files.
Right.
And that was clumsy, but it worked. So that's what I've done temporarily just to give myself some resiliency. But, I don't know. Is that my long-term place? Don't know. Don't know that it will be. But OneDrive, you're pissing me off, kids. Microsoft, you're pissing me off.
Yeah. So, there's this. I'm not happy, and I'm considering moving us to something else. But
and I would argue that I would extend this to sort of Larry sort of hinted at it just a moment ago. The whole Office 365, Microsoft 365 suite has done the same thing on a different level. They've introduced all this crap I don't want, and made it rougher to use and harder to use. They want to default crap up to OneDrive. There's all kinds of things that'll come out of it that I don't want. And I want some of that to go away. I want to stop throwing things in the background at me. Let me make my choices. Don't make me have to go turn them off.
Yeah.
By default. They shouldn't be on by default. I don't want this crap by default.
Correct.
If nothing else.
And stop advertising in the middle of the freaking op.
And stop advertising in the middle of everything.
Yes.
It shouldn't take the hue and cry of all these users out there to make Microsoft do the right thing. Look how long it took with Microsoft 365 to get it to save your files to your desktop instead of that freaking OneDrive.
Oh, it was terrible.
It took forever, but they finally listened. But I mean,
yeah. But that's one thing among many, right?
That's the current Microsoft.
Yeah.
Well, until it becomes bad enough PR, they don't do anything about it.
Nope.
Right?
Nope. All right. Well, look, I'm going to move us on to happier times. Okay.
Please do.
I'm going to take us to our tip of the week segment.
That's a happy time. I like that.
It's a happier time. So, before we get to this week's actual tip, I want to remind everyone that iTechGear was founded with the intent of making technology easier for everyone to use and understand. This team has dedicated their writing careers to that specific purpose. So every week we're going to have a new computing tip as part of the show, and it's going to be authored by one of our experienced editors. And questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, and yay, dare I say, ideas should be sent to tips@itechgear.org. And if we use your submission on the air, we're going to give you your 15 seconds worth of fame. This week's tip is called Customize Your Taskbar or Dock. So your taskbar on Windows or your dock on Mac is like a shortcut tray for your most used apps. Customizing it saves time because you don't need to dig through menus every time you want to open a program. Pin your favorite apps like your browser, your email app, your word processor there so that you can always get them with just one click. You can always rearrange them to match your workflow with the most important ones near the center. On Windows, you can even add folders or quick settings for extra convenience. Removing unused apps keeps the bar uncluttered and easier to use. A well-organized taskbar or dock turns your computer into a smoother, more personalized workspace, helping you focus on the tools you actually use on a daily basis. And there you go, kids. So customize away. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and move us to our pick of the week. And again, I want to say, hey, Our show picks are typically hardware, software, and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and that we actually use and that we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. These are not paid advertisements or anything that we have any kind of an affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy over at iTechGear indicates that we have to go ahead and let you guys know that up front. These are just sincerely things that we believe in, and we want to bring them to you at the end of each show. Why, Joel?
Because we like you.
There you go, kids. So, Joel, you've got the pick this week. What is it?
All right, so y'all, if you've been listening for a while, we all know I've done these Mammoth March events. I love to hike. It's one of my most favorite things in the world to do for physical activity.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I'm getting close to the point where I'm ready to do my own backpacking trips where I go out in the wilderness and hike and then camp, not to mention the fact I'm doing my first 30-mile event, I decided it was time to pick up one of these. Now, this is not how it looks. It's in a out of the box from Garmin.
All right, so what is it? What is it? What is it called?
It's the Garmin InReach Messenger.
Okay.
So this has Bluetooth in it. It uses the Iridium satellite network to report positions. And it does have a subscription at most $50 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I am on the Essential package, which gives me a limited amount of messages, but I can fire up the app on my phone. This has a screen on it, but really you don't use the screen. You can use the screen to do messages,
Mm-hmm.
but you really don't need to. You just use the phone app. There's an app called Garmin InReach Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically lets me send text messages without need for a cellular connection.
That is cool.
Yeah, so and it's quite a bit different than like with the satellite messaging you have built into the iPhone, or the Pixel 9 Pro has it too. But with that messaging, you have to orient your phone in certain directions and stand on your one leg, maybe, depending on how good your line of sight is. This square here on the top here is the patch antenna for the Iridium network.
Okay.
And all I gotta do is make sure that's and see the sky, and that is it. So there's no weird positioning or anything like that.
How
like
much
I
open
said,
sky does it have to have?
It works fine. I've actually been able to connect and send messages over this from inside the house.
Okay.
Granted, I don't know if it could be using the internet, because the app
Sure.
kind of can do stuff like that too.
Sure.
It does have Wi-Fi built into it as well.
Okay.
So I really haven't gone too far off the beaten path to truly test the satellite part of it. It does work, and the nice thing is now, if you guys install the app is free, so you can install the app, and if you have cell phone reception, you can send one directly to this device.
Okay.
So if I am not within reach here, you can send it to this device. Now, the great thing here is that via the Garmin InReach Messenger app, if you don't have the app on your phone, I can still send you a message using your phone number. So the only difference is when it comes over from the satellite, it's going to come from a number you don't recognize when I send a message out.
Okay.
So it'll come from some Garmin phone number. Okay.
Okay.
But you can also do travel tracking. So I can have live track enabled. Granted, right now in the essential mode, every single message that goes out, I only have 50 of those messages. So if I have the higher end subscription, and that great thing is I can keep it at the bare minimum. I think the bare minimum level is $7.99 a month. I've got it on the essential, which is $15.99, and you get a certain amount of messages you can send, and the live tracks count as messages.
Okay.
So when I go to the Mammoth March, I'll probably go ahead and for that month hike it up to the $50 level. That way I can just turn on a live track. And unlike when I track it with my watch, Larry, you should still be able to see me if I have no cell reception. So ideally.
Okay.
Next up for another $40 a year. This is the magical SOS button here.
Okay.
It's got a cover on
There's
it.
a button on the side of this thing.
I flip the cover up. Say I'm in this oh shit situation.
Okay.
And I'm injured and I need somebody to come pull me out. I can hit that SOS button.
But the nice thing about it, to prevent you from actually pressing
unless
it
I
when
mean
when you're not right. It's got a cover over the button. You've got to flip the cover up and then push the button. Okay.
Yep. So
doing that.
now the add-on when I finally go out in the true wilderness, I'm gonna probably buy the year subscription to the SAR plan. So what that is it has, and that's like another 40 a year. But basically, it's an insurance plan that if I have to hit that button and they have to come in with a helicopter and pull my ass out, then I get some help paying for that, because a helicopter pulling you out of the wilderness,
I'm thinking that's not cheap.
It's $6,000. Well, put it this way. The example I have is $6,000. There's a YouTuber by the name of Jessica. Her maiden name was Jessica Mills, but she goes by a trail named Dixie. Her channel's Homemade Wonderlust. She had the InReach Mini 2, which is a previous one of these other devices that Garmin makes, and she had to hit it because her Apple Watch said her heart was going into AFib.
Oh boy.
So and she wasn't feeling good, so they had to pull her out. Unfortunately for her, she did have the SAR insurance, but her bill was initially going to be $6,000 to pull her out of the Sawtooth Wilderness.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, so that's a good idea to have if you're going to do that. Now, I don't know if I'll need that plan through my hiking season this year, because I'm doing Mammoth Marches, which are organized events. So, but I still might turn on the additional tracking mode just so that my friends and family can track me, especially when I complete the 30-mile loop in South Carolina.
Sure. So
keep in mind, it's important to note though, Iridium, like any satellite service, you were asking that it worked in the house. It doesn't work in the house unless you have some other service like Wi-Fi or cellular. You have to have line of sight for satellite.
Generally,
so if you're in a cave, not going to work.
No,
you got to be somewhere they can see you.
But generally, it's going to work better than
I think so too.
Than the Apple or the Google satellite messaging, because you're not having the phone messaging is you're going to have the satellite antenna and phone. You really don't know where the antenna is for the satellite in your phone.
No. Well, it also has to do with where is the satellite you're trying to get picked up from. If there's,
correct.
If they're everywhere, and Iridium kind of goes all the way around the Earth, there's a bunch of them. It does. So as long as it can see you, you don't have to worry. Yeah.
Right. So now the other alternative I had was I could have gone the Phoenix 8 Pro has InReach functionality, but there is one negative with the InReach functionality, and that it uses LTE. So it's kind of useless for that. So, but the thing is, I decided it was time to get one of these because I'm doing more hiking. I paid more than what they went on Amazon. It's $230 just for the device itself. It's a $39 activation fee, and then as little as $7.99 a month for the very basic plan where they charge you for every message. $14.99 for the essential plan, all the way up to. Let me pull up. I want to pull up the other plans. So.
Good though.
Yeah, it's. But the nice thing is you don't have to have it's not. There's no contract with it. So anytime I want to increase the amount that increase the level of my subscription, I can. Okay. So the most it'll be is the premium plan, which is $49.99 a month. That's not counting the SAR insurance, which is an additional $39. Or actually, no. Is it additional $39? I think it's like an additional 39. It's not that expensive. It's like that much a year, not a month for the SAR
Gotcha.
insurance. So, but the activation fee is $39. So, but you know, my life is more important than that money.
Sure.
So I'm going to spend the
True.
money.
True.
This is a good insurance policy.
Especially if you're out hiking like you are,
Yep.
right? I do
And-
want to go ahead and mention, you may have said this already, but I'm going to repeat it. The device itself is on Amazon is $234 even.
Yes.
Um,
Now,
there may be plans that are available for
Mm-hmm.
purchase. Like if you go with like a firm or something, you could get it for as low as $39 a month for 6 months. You may
Yep.
also be able to go ahead and find something that is used but like new for as low as $200. Save yourself $34. All right. And
and they're really starting to branch out too with these devices as well. This doesn't have the functionality, but the latest version of this device is the InReach Messenger Plus, which now also lets you send images over the Iridium network.
right, but that's $399. So
Correct.
so
Yeah.
so it's
So,
actually
So
a lot
not only did
pricier.
I break my leg, here's a picture of it.
Here's a picture of
That's
it.
right.
Send help.
Here's the bone.
Then
Get-
help.
Here, yes. So
Thanks for
they
playing.
have.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of the I think one of the original ones is the InReach and the InReach Mini 2. Those are still great devices, and still, I mean, if you have one of those, it's not. I would say this isn't an automatic upgrade. The battery life is phenomenal. I mean, I don't turn it on every day, obviously, but if I turn it on right now, it's still gonna be 90%. So it's not losing power as it's sitting here. It's being stored in my office. So,
Sure.
but it will be turned on prior to me starting the South Carolina Mammoth March, and I will have it have the higher subscription mode so I can use the live track, because the live track, what I discovered with the live track on my my watch. I'm still going to be tracking with my watch, obviously, because it's got the health things on it that this doesn't have. But this is going to be what I use to send for the tracking. It actually goes to the same page. So if you have my URL, like you guys, I think all have that URL, that should suffice with this. So and it's nice for tracking, and you can send status messages. I'm going to try and get some of my friends. Especially like my boot camp coach, going to say, "Hey, install this app so that that way we can stay in constant contact." Especially when I go to do this 30-miler, because I know she's gonna be so dang proud of me when I do it. So,
well, there you go.
And as is all you guys. So, and I appreciate your support
Absolutely.
for all my exploits. So, I highly recommend you doing this, especially if you're looking into going into the wilderness by yourself. Well. Ideally, you want to go into the wilderness with people, but if you have to go by yourself, then you definitely want to have something like this. So, all right.
Alrighty then. And that, kids, is the show. This has been the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 161. We're off to see the Gurman. Recorded live Sunday, February 15th, 2026. Live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, and for Mr. Chris Gavula, Brother Joe McLaughlin, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin, I want to say, hey, we will see you next time.